Raider Nation, what's going on? You guys are watching the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, we're going to talk about the most recent rumor around Davante Adams potentially heading to Las Vegas, or I'll tell you which company thinks that he's the most likely to go there. I got some injury news on Trayvon Mullen, Morrow, Darren Waller, Keisean Nixon, Nick Kwiatkoski, to name it off the top, and I think there's another guy in there. Bottom line, a lot of Raiders injury news. And then we're going to walk through the NFL playoff picture. I'm going to tell you which teams that you should be rooting for this week. All right, as promised, Davante Adams, is he headed to Las Vegas in 2022? Bleacher Report, they just went ahead and released an article about the top 5 most likely destinations for one of the top free agents on the market. And I'm not just talking about at the wide receiver position, because if I'm being honest, the top wide receiver that will be available in 2022, it will in fact be Davante Adams. And if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, obviously you're sitting here looking for a number 1 wide receiver, which it's just another offseason where I have to say that, and it kind of ticks me off a little bit simply because I think the way that the Raiders' offense was trending with Ruggs was definitely going in the right direction. Now, does that mean I don't want Davante Adams? Of course not. He's one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in all of the NFL. So in terms of some of his potential destinations, here's what Bleacher Report thought. They had the Green Bay Packers up there. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Green Bay figures it out with Aaron Rodgers. Then, yes, if I was Adams, I could absolutely consider myself going back there, despite my post of the last dance like he did. The Las Vegas Raiders, Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions. I thought those two were a little bit funny to me. Personally, I don't think he goes to either 2 of those teams. And then the New York Jets. The Jets are going to have money, but if you're Adams, I get that you probably want to get the bag, but you also have to want to win as well. So be honest with me here, guys. Let me know down in the comments section, are the Raiders a realistic spot for Davante Adams in 2022? I want you to go ahead and type Y for yes, or I want you to scroll on down, type N for no. Yes, the Raiders are obviously a very realistic spot, and as it stands right now, with Derek Carr as the quarterback, I personally believe that it is the most realistic spot. Now, a lot of times on the Raiders Report, a lot of times on shows, whether it's a Raiders podcast that you listen to or a lot of stuff, when big top trending NFL news rumors come out, it's our job to go ahead and talk about it. And sure, there's definitely been shows where I've put somebody in the title or I've talked about somebody and I'm like, dude, there's no chance. It's why I've given it no Chucky heads. For this, it's absolutely realistic. And look at what Adams has said. Look at what Derek Carr has said. I mean, Adams literally said this offseason, it would be a dream to play with Derek Carr again. And also, DC literally said he's going to be putting on a full court press trying to go out and get his old teammate. And in their final year together, Derek Carr had, 50 passing touchdowns? Adams had 24 receiving touchdowns their final year at Fresno State. It was an unbelievable duo, and these guys are literally still best friends off the field. Here's the issue, though, right? I really, truly believe if Derek Carr isn't the quarterback, the chances of getting Davante Adams drastically, and yes, drastically, are going to go down. Not because Adams wouldn't want to come to Vegas and make a lot of money. That's not the case. But if you were Adams, you would be worried of, okay, who's going to be the Raiders quarterback? Who's an upgrade over DC? There's not many guys out there. Sure, maybe Aaron Rodgers could come. Sure, maybe Russell Wilson. Maybe Deshaun Watson. But at the end of the day, it sounds more like Davante Adams wants to play with Carr, not so much the Raiders. So if Carr isn't the QB, the chances are going down. So here's another tough question. And for those of you that maybe you're just tuning into the Raiders Report for the first time, we're an interactive show because this thing is all about giving the nation a voice. So if I ask you a question, I would greatly appreciate it if you went down in the YouTube comments, battle it out with some other people, give your 2 cents. B for believe it, baby. T for tuck rule, tuck that. Will Derek Carr be the Raiders quarterback next season? If you're typing B, it basically means yes. If you're typing D, it means that you don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and type B for believe it, baby. And for those of you that are a loyal watcher, I'd probably give it 3 no Chucky heads at this point. That I do think it's pretty likely that Carr ends up coming back. Now, even though he's coming back, I still think it's probably going to be his final season. You let him play off on his final contract, $19.9 million, and whoever the new head coach is going to be, maybe they decide to draft a quarterback, or maybe there's somebody else that they're going to bring in. The bottom line is I think Carr's back next year, but I also think it's probably going to be his final season. So I kind of just mentioned the Chucky heads, the just win babies, here, that. Well, We are finally down to just win babies and the Raider Shield. And this is a poll that I put on last week, and I told everyone to go ahead and vote. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to announce the winner of it's either going to be the Just Win Baby or the Raider Shield. What's going to be the new Chucky head here on the Raiders Report. And if you want to find out, you got to subscribe. Turn on those notifications. That way you don't miss my live show tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be talking about news and rumors. I still don't know what segment I'm going to do quite yet, but we also do 2 mailbags. It's a show that's usually about 80 to 90 minutes long, but I go live, seriously, every single Tuesday. So hit that big red button that says subscribe and join me tomorrow. All right, let's talk about now some injury news. First name that I'm going to go ahead and bring up, Trayvon Mullen. So this dude hasn't played since week 3 with an ankle injury. Good news is this. He does have a chance to play Week 13 up against the Washington football team. And as reports continue to pile in while I'm making this video, he is able to come off the IR, and it does sound like he has a chance to play. Though, you could also see the Raiders be a little bit more cautious and wait for him to be more than 100% healthy Week 14 up against the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's like, do you play him this week? Or do you give him just that extra week so that way he's ready to go against Kansas City? My personal opinion, if he's healthy, you play him. If he's at 95%, you've waited this long, wait till he's 100%, and then rest him up, have him ready to go up against KC. Now, the deals, man, I'm all about deals. So it's Cyber Monday. I'm really excited. So if anybody out there knows, like, man, I got to get some Raiders gear for my brother. I got to get some Raiders gear for myself. Husband, wife, whoever, listen up, because if you go to chatsports.com/Raiders sale, some of this stuff is actually up to 75% off. Seriously, 75% off. It's chatsports.com/Raiders sale. That link is going to be available for y'all in the comments and available in the description. And because it's Cyber Monday, if you spend over $75, you can also use code MONDAY to save an additional 20%. I was down there at that link earlier before I came on the show. You can get a ridiculous amount of stuff, and then on top of the 20% if you use code MONDAY. Guys, I'm telling y'all right now, awesome, awesome deals. Chatsports.com/Raiders sale. They have t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, jerseys. They got it all. One more time in the comments and in the description. Let's go to another injury update here, and it's around Nicholas Morrow. And personally, I was hoping for some better news because there was a report 2 weeks ago that said Nicholas Morrow was ahead of schedule in terms of Trayvon Mullen. The Raiders actually anticipated Morrow to come back before Mullen, and now it actually just came out today that Rich Bisaccia got asked, hey, what's the latest going on with Morrow? And Bisaccia as always, talks about, oh, guys are week to week, week to week. Well, he actually said Morrow is 2 weeks to 2 weeks as opposed to week. So if I had to guess, you're hoping for Morrow to come back Week 15 up against the Cleveland Browns, fingers crossed, but it doesn't really sound like we're going to have him this week against Washington or the bigger loss, Week 14 up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, out of the 2 players that I just talked about, because I'll say most recently, these are the 2 dudes that I'm getting asked, like, when is Morrow coming back? When is Mullen coming back? Who do you think is the bigger need as it stands right now? If you think Morrow coming back would be bigger, I want you to go ahead and type 50. That's his number. If you think it'd be Trayvon Mullen, I want you to go ahead and type 27. I'm going to go ahead and type 27 for the simple fact of the cornerback position is still a bigger need than the linebackers. I've been impressed by Denzel Perriman, who leads the NFL in tackles right now with 121, but his coverage skills are definitely lacking, which Morrow would definitely help. But also Littleton has made his game a little bit better. I've been impressed with KJ Wright despite his limited snaps. It really comes down to Brandon Faison to me, who, if you have watched the last 2 weeks, NFL teams are now starting to pick on Brandon Faison, and I can understand why. They don't want to throw anywhere near Nate Hobbs. They don't want to throw, especially near Casey Hayward. And Merrick's been an absolute monster. The 2 guys that people are targeting are Jonathan Abram, Brandon Faison. So for that, if you can get Mullen and Hayward together, that's the bigger need. Now, the linebackers, like I mentioned, they have been playing a little bit better, but there are some matchups that are coming up, like the Washington football team. They're expected to get back Logan Thomas, Curtis Samuel, both receivers that like to dominate the middle. So if you could have that extra linebacker to cover, major help there. But also Travis Kelce. If I got to watch Travis Kelce torches again in Week 14, I'm going to be one PS. So what is it? Pissed off? PO'd? Is that what I'm going for? I don't know, Jeremy. All right, guys, if you want to hit me up on IG, you can always do so. I'm at MitchellRens365. If you want to talk to me about anything you saw on today's show, you can go ahead and do so. Now, I also have more injury updates coming up here because it's definitely important to be able to keep you guys up to date. So 4 more injury updates. The first one is on Darren Waller. I mentioned on my show yesterday that the Raiders were expecting him to miss 2 to 3 weeks. I actually talked to one of my friends who's a doctor, and he said he actually knows somebody close to Waller that said it probably would only be 2 weeks. That's what I said yesterday. And now Bisaccia came out today and said he's week to week and actually has a chance to play. If I'm the Raiders, I rest Darren Waller until he's 100%. I don't really anticipate him to play. Another injury where Bisaccia said that he is week to week is Carl Nassib, who, again, dealing with I believe a knee injury. Still has a chance to play, but I would be shocked if he ends up going. You're resting these guys. That way you're 100% healthy up against the Kansas City Chiefs. An injury here, Nick Kwiatkoski. Out of all the guys that I'm talking about, Kwiatkoski might actually be the one that's the most likely to return this week. He's been dealing with a knee injury. I'm going to try to talk to Nick after today's show to see how he's feeling, but at least has a shot. Another cornerback who's been dealing with an injury, Keisean Nixon. He could be back this week as well. The guys that are way more likely, Nixon, Kwiatkoski. I wouldn't anticipate Nassib and Waller, but it is good news that Nassib and Waller at least have a chance to play, because when I saw Waller holding his knee, I was like, oh, shit. This could be really, really bad. All right, y'all, coming up now, we're going to get into an AFC playoff picture, because yesterday on the show on Sunday, when I filmed it, a lot of the games early on were still going on. So here's the updated look in with Monday Night Football being the Seahawks in Washington. This is, again, a very important game to watch because I want you guys to watch what Washington does. But the Ravens, Patriots, Titans, and Chiefs, those are your division leaders. The wild card, Bengals, Bills, Chargers, and then there's the Raiders, kind of tied with the Denver Broncos at 6-5. Now, when you look at the AFC West standings, you're going to be like, wait a minute, why are the Raiders in the 4 spot? The number that you see in parentheses is their division record, so the record against other AFC West teams. The Chiefs sitting at 7-4, they're 1-1. Chargers, they're 2-1, so they have the tiebreaker over Denver and over the Raiders, despite the Chargers just losing to Denver. The Raiders beat the Broncos, but are 1-2 in the division. Therefore, they are the 4 seed in the AFC West. But at the end of the day, the Raiders still control their own destiny, which is absolutely everything you want. Now, some teams to root against, okay, or I guess I should say teams to root for this week for the Raiders. You got to root for the Texans up against the Colts. Yeah, it's not really that likely, but at the end of the day, hey, I've seen crazier things happen. The Bengals up against the Chargers. The reason why I'm going this route, Chargers are in division. The Bengals have already beaten us, and if the Bengals continue to win games, who knows? Maybe the Bengals can win that division, though I'm sitting here saying that I want the Ravens to win up against the Steelers because I really think it could come down to the Steelers and the Raiders getting a chance there at that final wild card spot. Broncos, they can take down the Chiefs. Raiders have the tiebreaker against Denver if it all comes down to it at the end. And then Patriots up against the Bills. Let the Patriots win. Let them win their division. The Bills right now have been a little bit rocky, and if the Raiders and Buffalo finish with the same record, as bad as what the Bills have been inside the AFC, Raiders could have a serious tiebreaker there because they've actually been good against the AFC. Now, fill in the blank, y'all. If the Raiders make the playoffs, I will, and I've been thinking about taking my favorite answers that I see in this, putting it up on the Raiders Report show. So I always tell people, like, hey, interact with us in the comments. I'm actually going to take some of these comments that I see that have made it this far in the video. You're going to be on tomorrow's live show, and who knows, maybe I'll actually do one if the Raiders make the playoffs. So let me know if the Raiders make the playoffs. I will fill in the blank.